So, good morning, friends. We have already seen the process of the research. Now, today we'll discuss in detail the research design. Okay. So, as we are aware that design is a very important aspect of anything, and in the engineering, we take it very serious and we design maybe any product, any system. So design means what? To give the system or the product expected performance. Okay. So whatever the calculations we do, that is called as what? Design. Okay. So when we talk about the research, we have to also design the research. When we design anything, it gives the expected performance, and our rework or any error will get reduced. Like I will give the example of a civil engineer. What civil engineer will do? He will design the building. What do you mean by design? He will decide the size of various components based on how much load it will come, and the building should withstand that amount of the load. Okay, like if it is a bridge, how many vehicle will pass, what will be the possible load each vehicle will put on the bridge, and such at such load it should remain there. Okay, it should not get destroyed. Okay, so that is called as design. In the same way, for the research, we have to design the research so that our efforts are utilized properly. There is no error, or the scope is not varied. Okay. So research design falls into the four categories. First is sampling design. We have already seen sampling design, in which we deal with the method of selecting the atom to be observed. We have already seen the sampling in previous lecture. What is the sampling is? We don't study the whole population because sometimes it is impossible and difficult. Okay. So we don't study the whole population, but we select some members from the population, and then we study. That is called as what? Sample. Okay, that is called as sampling. Okay. Then comes observational design. In observational design, which relates to condition under which observations are made. Okay, so we have to also decide what will be the condition under which the study will be conducted. Okay, so that will be observational design. Then comes statistical design. In statistical design, we deal with question of how many atoms to be observed. We already seen statistical in previous lectures. So how many atoms to be observed, how the information and data gathered is analyzed. Okay. We already seen the Chauvet's criteria to reject the reading. Okay. So the Chauvet's criteria gives you a number of readings and all the things, and when to reject particular readings. Okay. So statistical design also we have to do. Then comes operational design. In the operational design, we deal with the techniques by which procedures specified in the sampling, statistical, and observational designs are carried out. Okay, so these are the techniques by which the procedure is specified in sampling and the procedure specified in sampling, statistical design, observational designs are carried out. That is called as operational design. Okay, that is called as what? Operational design. Now move further. So, what is the minimum expected from the what is called as research design? Now, please understand, I will give one example. Suppose I want to go to the Mumbai from the Pune. So I have to plan first whether I will go by bus, whether I will go by train, whether I will go by taxi. Okay, once I plan, then I have to see the schedule accordingly that where to do. Okay, if I randomly go at bus stop and at that time there is no bus, or if I go to the train station and there is no train, then planning is very important. So it will save your money, efforts. So research is also the thing where the planning is needed. Please understand that planning to give the expected performance is called as a design. Okay. So what a minimum expectation we do from the research design is there should be clear statement about the research problem. Please understand, research problem should be clearly mentioned, and there should not be any ambiguity. There should be clarity in the research problem. Then we need to clearly mention the procedures and techniques for gathering the information. I already mentioned that in the research, we have to set the procedure and every time strictly follow the procedure. Otherwise, our results will not be reliable, and once they are not reliable, we'll fail. Okay, we'll fail. So procedures and techniques for gathering information should be clearly stated, stepwise. We can make flowchart also or algorithm. Okay, so what is called as SOP we can make, standard operating procedure for this, for collecting the information. Okay, so procedure and technique to be used for gathering information to be clearly mentioned. Okay, for population to be studied also, what population to be studied, and once we have to see that during conducting the experiment, what will be method, techniques, and then how the population will be studied, what will be the sampling plan. Then comes once data is available, how will you process the data, how will you analyze the data, then how will you interpret the data. So everything will come in your design plan. Okay. I will also tell you the benefits of design, research design. Okay. So why to make design, research design? I already mentioned, I gave one very simple example that I want to go from Pune to Mumbai. I have to plan this. Okay. Why I need to plan? If I want to reach to the Mumbai at a desired time, okay, desired cost, okay. If I plan well in advance, okay, so there are different options. We can go by Shivneri, we can go by train, okay. If you plan well in advance, what will happen? I can go by train, and which is much cheaper than bus, okay. And also there is no chances of what is called as traffic jam for the train, okay. So planning will help you to reduce the time to get expected result. So let us see what are the benefits of research design. So as I mentioned earlier, planning, whatever is planning, it will always help us to make it the process efficient. So research design will make research efficient. Okay, it will make the research efficient. Please understand. Next point we'll see. So, as I mentioned in the research, what we do is we collect the information, and as I mentioned, research is costly. It costs you. Okay, so different costs involved in the research are the experimental setup, the manpower, and you can say manpower and their efforts. Okay, so by properly planning the research, we can get maximum information with the minimum expenditure of effort, time, and money. Okay, sometimes the money is also linked to the time. Please understand. If you're we overrun in the time, possibly we will overrun also in the money, because the process we have to follow and it may need the money. Okay. So because of research design, we can control our cost, we can control our duration of the project, we can control the effort. Also, next is we can avoid the mistakes which may happen if you don't plan. Okay, like so I have given at the starting one example, putting the immersion heater in the bucket. Suppose you put the immersion heater in the empty bucket, switch on the heater, and then start to search some vessel to pour the water in the bucket. So such thing, the your heater may burn, and once the your heater burns, then there is no option for bathing with the warm water. Please understand. So such mistakes can happen in the research, and can be avoided if you plan the research. So planning to give the expected performance. Planning to give the expected performance is a research design. Please understand. Okay. One more very important benefit that you get in the research design is that once our research design is available, once our research design is available, we can show to our peer, or we can show to our mentor. Okay, once we show to mentor, and if the mentor uh, evaluates your plan, then he may find maybe some mistakes, or he may provide you the suggestion, and what is called as systematicness can be brought. Okay. So we have already seen the characteristic of research, that research is a systematic process. Okay, research follows the logical sequence. Okay, when you show your research design to your mentor, or meet some person from that field, he may give some suggestion, and we can make it more systematic, which can make to follow it more logical sequence, and we can avoid errors or mistakes in your research. So it is very important. If this plan is not ready, please understand. If this plan is not ready, how the mentor can give you the suggestion? Please understand. So bring your plan, your proper research plan on the paper. Then and then it will be possible for mentor or your peer from your field to give you some suggestion. Okay. Once the suggestions are given, we can modify your research design. Okay. Please don't make hurry. Better you show your research design to your peer, your guide, your mentor. Okay. That will obviously help you and avoid any mistakes that you will perform in the latter stage of the research. Okay.
Excellent, sir.
Yes.
This duration to be allowed for doing for working on the research design and coming out with a proper research design should be how many months roughly based on your experience?
This varies, but maybe within 6 months we have to finish this research design. Okay.
Okay.
Research design is very, very, very crucial if you go for new field. Okay. So already your
Okay.
field is mature and you know what to do.
Yeah.
Then it is not that much difficult. But if you go for new thing, so in that case, you have to be very careful and make the plan, show the plan to the persons from your field. Okay, that will obviously help you, and rework will be avoided. Okay.
Okay.
Here I can give one example of my friend who was doing my PhD with me. So he completed the research, and at the fourth year, so committee told that you can write the thesis, okay? But after that, his guide went to the USA, and where he found that the methodology is obviously wrong, and he need
Uh,
to repeat the all the research, okay? So
I
he
see.
already completed, by that time he completed 5 years, okay?
My goodness.
So when the guide came back from US, he told that you change your methodology and repeat all the readings. So probably it was expected to take 1 year for completing again that. Okay. So
Okay.
he denied. He told that I will not repeat. If you want to give the PhD on this my work, give. Otherwise, I will leave. Okay. So such a serious thing can happen, okay,
Mhm.
in the
Yeah.
PhD. So better be cautious, take
Okay.
the help of others. Please understand, I'm telling from starting itself that you don't make the compartment, okay, that you are
Yeah.
alone, you and alone are in the compartment, okay, but you have to also interact with outside society, build a
Yeah.
relation that may be helpful to go for postdoc also, okay. So
Okay.
collaborative research also. So don't make the compartment, okay? So make your plan, show to the people, meet the people. People also like to share their opinion. Please understand, okay? Sometimes the person may be busy. You take the time and take the appointment and meet the person, okay? So it is very important. Making the plan and getting the suggestion for research plan is a good idea.
Okay.
Sir,
Thank
one
you.
more question over here on this. Like,
Yeah.
what is the use of literature survey in this process? Like, if we have done the good literature survey and
Mm-hmm.
understand the process or the methodology which is present or not present,
Mhm.
And based on that, we derived some methodology,
Mhm.
and we designed some experimentations and get the results, and we
Mhm.
concluded that. And then after that, like, if you go to some part of the world and see it is already exist, or it is not correct. So whether that methodology which is in the other part of the world is
Mhm.
not been published, or we have not done a good work on research methodology or the literature survey.
Mhm.
So
Please,
what is the
please understand what happens. There can be maybe 2 or 3 methods sometime. Sometimes there can be only one method the most of what follows. So suppose you take the method and later on we when you come to know that persons are using different methodology. Okay. So I did the same way. I did one paper on the solar energy. I used my own methodology. Okay. But when I sent the paper to the publisher, he told me to adopt the what is existing methodology. Please understand here. Okay. So it happens that you should not deviate from the standard practice, but if you are very confident that whatever method you have derived is right, but what happens, the problem comes when we try to publish paper because they have already set procedures and they will tell that you do as per this method. Okay. So I will say that literature survey is very important to find various methods, methodology, how the people deal, how to, people analyze the data obtained, how they conclude. Okay. So making the research plan, literature survey is a very important part. Please understand here. Okay. So I will move further. Now, here we'll move to the what is called as experimentation, and there are some basic principle of the experimental design. Okay, so we use this already. This principle we use this, but here we'll just go through this principle. There are 3 principles that we need to use in experimentation. First principle is principle of replication. Okay. And then principle of randomization, and third one is principle of local control. We have already seen. Okay. We have already seen in the characteristic of research that your research should be unbiased. Okay. There should not be any bias. So when we select only one reading, suppose yesterday only, day before yesterday, I gave the lecture to one college on the research methodology. So there were audience. Suppose in audience there are 40 persons. Okay.
Mhm.
So if I select only, I ask only one professor to give the feedback about the workshop. So the feedback obtained from that person will be biased. Okay. His opinion may be positive, his opinion may be negative. Okay. So it is not unbiased. So what I have to do, only a single sample is not enough. So I have to select maybe 4% from the workshop and then ask. Maybe one person say the workshop is not good, but most of 3% if they are saying the workshop is good, it means that population, as per the impression of population, the workshop is good. Okay. So these are the principles. Okay. So these are the principle of experimental design. So we'll see one by one what is the principle of replication, what is the principle of randomization, and principle of local control. So we already seen in the uh, characteristic of research that research is what conducted in the control atmosphere. So that is the principle of local control. So to avoid the effect because of variation of surrounding, so we have to make it control condition. Okay. So we'll see one by one principle of principles for experimental design. Now we'll move to the principle of replication. As I given one example now that in the audience there are about 40 participants, and if I select any person and ask what is his or her opinion about the workshop, and if I consider that opinion as an opinion of population, that is 40%, then it is not always right. So it can cause the bias. Okay. So what I have to do is maybe at least 10% I have to select 4%, and then ask 4% what is the opinion, their opinion about the workshop. And suppose 3 says it is good, 1 says it is not good, then still we can say that most of population feels that the workshop is good. Okay. So that is the principle of replication. So we are not to take single reading, please understand. Taking the single reading is a very serious, we can say, cause the bias. Okay, we select the one person and his opinion is opposite to the population. Please understand, this is very huge risk it can cause. Okay, in the audience, if I select the person who himself is having the negative opinion, okay, but we see that of the opinion of population is positive about the workshop. But if I select the wrong person, single person, and its opinion is negative about the workshop, then it will give the
Bias.
wrong impression about the population. Okay, so we are not to select single. So we are not to take the single reading, but it should not be more than one. Okay. So as
Sir,
yes.
actually, at what percentage we have to take the sampling, roughly?
So roughly, I think maybe 10% will be okay. Okay. 10%, I think that will be okay for the population. Okay.
Okay.
Depends on how big population is. Okay. So we have already
Okay.
studied previous lecture, we studied the sample design. Okay. It was about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
according to this principle of replication, experiment should be repeated more than once. Okay. Only once is not enough, please understand. Okay. Like when I conducted my experiment, I was taking the reading for 3 times. Okay. For the same flow. Okay. So experiment should be repeated more than one. Single reading is risky and it can give bias. Okay. So replication is a repetition of experiment under identical condition. Okay. But in context of experimental design, it refers to number of distinct experimental units under the same treatment. Okay, under the same treatment. So that we'll understand when we see the example what is it is meaning. Okay. So how it helps? Okay, principle of replication. How it helps? It increases our accuracy, we can say it, our result become more reliable. Like I give the example of audience. If I select one person and its opinion is, there are chances that it can be person give the positive opinion or negative opinion. But if I select the person who is having totally opposite opinion to the that of the major population, then it is totally fail. Okay. So by replication, what we do is we make accurate results, and we can say reliability of our research increases. Okay. So here I can give one example. Suppose there are two variety or two breeds of the wheats are there, and we wish to compare the two varieties. Okay. Then there are two options for us. We can divide your farm into the two parts. One part is for variety 1 and the second part is for variety 2. But here the same problem will occur. We are only taking one. Okay, only taking one sample. Okay, we are taking only one sample. So it can give the bias. So we have to implement what is called as principle of replication, means more than one we should have. Okay, more than one we
Excuse
should
sir,
have. Yes, yes.
but this replication, as you rightly said, principle, so
Mm.
it can be checked in a different site also or location, or it has to be the same site.
Same site. We are talking about the same site. Okay.
Same
Like
site.
in the farm, we divided it into two parts. One is variety 1, one is variety 2. Okay. So it will not give the accuracy. Okay. So what we can do is, instead of we have divided the farm. Now we will, what I will do, I will divide the farm in the many parts. Okay. I will divide the farm into the many parts. In this, there will be, we can say, variety 1. Here it is a variety 2. Okay. Now, I will select any part now. Okay. I will select part. Okay. I will select part. Okay. More than one part I can select. Okay. I can select more than one part and compare their results. Okay. Like I will same sample here, part 1, part 2, and then I make some part 3. Okay, more than one you take. Okay, then we can make some conclusion about the variety 2. Here also you select this, select this, and you make conclusion about yield 2. Okay, so we have different parts for comparison. Okay, so that is called as a replication. Instead of one part, we are comparing the many parts for that particular yield. Okay, so that is called as principle of replication,
Replication.
and our result will become more reliable now. Okay, here,
Sir,
yes.
sir, in this replication, like if we perform one design of experiment in one lab, for
Mhm.
example, what I
Mhm.
understood, like
Mhm.
for in MIT, we have one setup and we
Mhm.
did one experimentation. And
Mhm.
if I want to replicate the same experimentation because we got some results, and if I want
Mhm.
to replicate that experimentation at some different location, for example, GSPMS Nare locations, we have one lab over
Mhm.
there, and I'm
Mhm.
doing the same setup we develop over there, and we did a experimentation over there, and we are getting the result.
No,
So are the results
what is happening here? Your boundary condition is changing. That is your third part, control condition. Okay.
Yeah.
So in if you do experiment in MIT lab, okay, what is principle of replication tells that you don't take the one reading. There are different things. Okay. Like in the crop case, what we are doing, we are dividing the farm into the parts. But when it comes about our engineering reading, so what we have to do, under same condition, we have to take more than one reading. That is the meaning here.
so, sir, that is called. So, what is the difference between replication and then repeats? There is the two concepts. One is replication, principle of replication. One is principle of repeats.
Mhm.
So, in replications, we are replicating one setup A and setup B, and we are
Mhm.
taking the readings. And in the repeats, we are taking multiple readings from
Mhm.
one setup. So,
Mhm.
like more than three, in order to avoid the bias. So more
Mhm.
than 3, 4, or 5 readings, correct? And we
Mhm.
try to understand whether the repeats are being the results are being repeated or not. Whether
Mhm.
we have the a variation in the results and how
As
much
per
deviation we have from the mean.
as per this book, the replication, they consider replication and repeat same. Okay. Like suppose I am taking the reading at particular condition. Like I will give the example of my PhD thesis, where I was taking the reading at particular Reynolds number. So I will take reading now. Again, I will go to the same situation. Okay. I will again vary the flow, make it the Reynolds number same, and again I will take the reading. Okay. So I need to take maybe 3
So
readings.
means under same experimental condition, we have to repeat the experiment.
Yeah, we have to repeat the experiment. Okay. That is the,
And if site changes, then it becomes a transfer of technology, right, sir?
yeah, yeah. When
Means
no,
same
when you go to the another Nare campus and build the
another.
same
It becomes
setup, but still there are chances that there will be little variation in the experimental setup, and which can give the little different readings. Okay, so it is not replication. Okay,
But in that case, replication has to be there, correct? Because if I develop some methodology, like for example, testing of a medicine, correct? So if I I
No,
develop
no.
a
If you put
medicine Covaxin.
every background condition same, so we can say it is a replication. Okay. But
Correct. So
if you have
correct in that.
standard equipment, then we can say it is a replication.
uh,
Mhm.
Yeah, standard equipment. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So we have the standard equipment which we develop, and the experimentation, the methodology what we develop in MIT has to
Mhm.
be replicated in the NARE campus. Because
Yeah.
if the methodology will not be replicated, then the
Mhm.
result will not be same. Correct?
Yes.
If the Covaxin is tested in India, and if
Mhm.
you are exporting Covaxin to Brazil,
Mhm.
correct, or any other part of the world, it has to
Mhm.
give the same efficacy of the medicine. Correct?
Yeah,
The
provided it
replication
is
has to be
stored
there.
under standard test
Correct.
conditions,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
methodology of delivery is same. Okay.
Yes. And then repeat is like multiple sample size, like multiple person has to be given. So
Mhm.
how if 10 out of how many samples, like
Mhm.
9 is showing good results and 1 is showing bad result. In the
Mhm.
same way, if you transfer to the same condition, there also like 10 out of 9 or 8 is showing good result and 1 or 2 might be bad result.
Mhm.
So what is
Mhm.
the percentage of efficacy in that case?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see the meaning of replica means exact same. Okay. Okay. Replica means what? It is exactly same. Okay. So exactly same condition is repeated. We can say it is a replica. Okay. So generally, when we change experimental setup, even though design is same, there may be chances of some variation. Okay. That happens in mechanical system. Then comes principle of randomization. So we have to take the reading, we have to select the sample randomly. Please understand, we have already seen this in the sampling. Okay. So principle of randomization involves allocation of treatment to the experimental units at the random. Okay. Why we do this randomness? To avoid any bias. Okay. So like the randomness prevents effect of extraneous unknown factor which can exist in the experiment. Okay. So extraneous means you can say irrelated parameter. Okay. We'll stop here and we can meet after 10 minutes. I think 40 minutes are almost over now.